Hello, my name is Dean Sunseri. I'm a professional counselor and also a pastor. And I'm doing this video to encourage you to give you 3 tips to help you deal with this pandemic of fear. We're living right now in the pandemic of COVID-19, which is a very real thing. But we also have, which from my point of view is an even greater problem among many of us, is this intense pandemic of fear that's causing lots of problems. Starting from us as individuals all the way up to political decisions and so forth. So 3 things that I would like to propose to you to help you deal with your anxiety and fear. Number 1 is you need to stay in the present. That may sound very simple, and it is, but all anxiety is based in the future of telling myself a story in the future and acting as if it's happening in the present. When we let our mind go into the future and start telling us negative stories that this is going to happen, or this is going to happen, or this is going to happen, and then we start responding to that in the present as if it's already happened, and we get paralyzed by anxiety and fear. If you're watching this video right now, you are alive. Yes, you're alive, and you're breathing, and you're okay. And what you need to know is that COVID-19 is very real, but the chances of you contracting it and you dying from it are very, very, very small. Now, of course, if you're high risk, you need to take all the precautions and so forth, and I'm not getting into that. But I'm just saying you need to be in the present right now, and you need to start telling yourself different stories about what's happening in the future. Not just in fantasy thinking, but based on facts, based on an educated conscience, based on what I would say ideally is a prayerfully educated conscience will give you the true north of how you have to handle this COVID situation and what decisions you need to make, because we're getting so many different voices. One scientist says mask, the other one says don't worry about the mask. One says don't leave your house, the other one says get together in a crowd. I mean, there's so many extremes, and yet you need to make your own decision, but at the same time, stay in the present and realize that statistically you're fine. You're fine. In terms of kids, it's more dangerous to kids to ride to school in a car than it is for them to contract COVID and die. I don't want to get into that because, in general, I do think our government is made to help us maintain the rights of individuals, but its job is not to dictate and to make sure we're healthy. Because if they did, they would eliminate cigarettes, because we know that cigarettes kill. They would eliminate all alcohol from off the shelf because so many people die from alcohol-related problems. The job of our government is to protect our rights. So anyway, that's a little side note, but let's get back. We need to stay in the present, and we need to deal with our anxiety straight on. Anxiety, when I tell myself a negative story in the future and I act like it's happening right now, starts to have impact on my body. What do we need to fight COVID-19? We need our immune system to be up, to be functioning well. What do you know, when you're in fight or flight mode and you're in high anxiety and high fear, you know what happens to your immune system? It goes down. Do you know what happens when we're so riddled with anxiety that we can't sleep at night and we're not getting proper rest for our bodies? What happens to our immune system? It goes down. There's many things that happen when you're in chronic anxiety that actually increase your chances of you being impacted by COVID-19. So we need to deal with it straight on, and the first thing we need to do is stay in the present and battle those negative stories in the future that you constantly tell yourself. And that brings us to the second thing that we need to do, is that we need to evaluate our social network. There's two groups. There's hope dealers and there's despair dealers. What is a dealer? A drug dealer is someone that gives you something and you ingest it and it's either good or bad for you, right? There's two groups of people. There's hope dealers. Hope dealers are individuals that speak hope into your life, that give you hope that there is a good future and good things are happening, good things are around the corner. It's the joyful anticipation that good things are going to be happening to you as hope. And then there's despair dealers. And despair dealers are the worst case scenario. They always remind you that there's a chance. Yes, there's a chance. Despair dealers would be like a weatherman, and it has less than 1% chance of rain, and the weatherman's telling you, look, grab your umbrella, grab your raincoat, and watch out for the lightning because the thunderstorm could come today. It's less than 1%. No, what does he need to say? He needs to say, listen, it's a beautiful day. Enjoy it. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be a wonderful day. And the rain chance is less than 1%. Less than 1%. How do we translate that to this current crisis? That we're making the small chance of you being impacted and it being fatal to you, and have blown it out in such a proportion that you're like a weatherman that's getting on the people saying you need to bring your raincoat and your umbrella because there's less than 1% chance of rain. Now, I know there's a lot of other issues about distancing and not passing on the virus and stuff like that, but I'm just trying to make a point that there is prudence and there's wisdom in dealing with this, and there's overreaction and just buying these overreactions as if it's reality. So my encouragement to you is analyze your social network and to see who are the hope dealers and who are the despair dealers. And you need to guard your eyes and guard your ears because those are like gates. What are you letting in your eyes? What are you letting in your ears? Whatever you let in your eyes and whatever you let in your ears, you have to deal with. You wouldn't imagine if you had a house that was guarded by a fence, you would let any goofball into your house. And so many of us do that through the television. We let all this stuff get in and it starts to accumulate. And we need to take responsibility for what are we letting through our eyes, what are we letting through our ears, and are we managing our social network, and are we increasing those that instill hope, and are we decreasing those that are instilling despair and fear and over anxiety? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying be foolish, but I am saying from my perspective, there are so many people right now paralyzed by anxiety, paralyzed by fear, and it's the chances are so small of things happening and a suffering with that. So analyze your social network. Increase those that speak hope into your life and decrease those that speak despair, the despair dealers. Third suggestion I have is there's a word that I love, inspiration. And we often associate that when I go to a good talk and somebody gives an inspiring talk and my spirit is uplifted. Inspirited broken down as in spirit. And we can be inspirited in a good way and we can be inspirited in an unhealthy way. So the third suggestion that I have for you is that do things that inspire you in a good way. I love to read the Bible. The Bible fills me with inspiration, fills me with ideas. I love to read other inspirational books. I need to increase the time. You need to increase the time to things that feed your spirit in a healthy and good way and build you up, and decrease reading the bad news. You know, the Bible's called the good news. Why? Because it builds up your spirit. Stop looking at the bad news and increase the good news. So do things that fill up your spirit in a powerful way. The other thing that goes with that is pray. Teach your friends, teach your children to pray. Increase your prayer life. Do you know it's been proven over and over again scientifically that those who pray to a caring, loving God across the board have lower levels of anxiety and depression than those that have no spiritual connection. You need a spiritual connection, and that has been proven scientifically to help decrease your anxiety, to decrease your depression, to decrease your fears. So pray and read inspiring information. So if I was a doctor, you can call me Dr. Dean, and here's my prescription for you to deal with this pandemic of fear. First, stay in the present. You are alive. You have over a 99 point something chance of staying fine through this whole pandemic. Number two, guard your eye and your ear gate and increase your connection with hope dealers and decrease your connection with despair dealers. And third, pray and read inspirational books. I promise you, if you increase those three activities, you will not be a victim of this pandemic of fear. Hope this was helpful. God bless you, and see you soon.